But so you say, but the thing that trips me out is that you're saying that you just like boom concept right, boom concept right, boom concept right.
A concept comes to me first, and then I have to put it into. A lot of things didn't make it into this book. The editor, certain things she didn't think that should kind of like go into the book, like that doesn't matter. She was like, that doesn't matter. I'm like, okay. But there was a lot. This book is kind of, I don't want to say watered down because it's not watered down, but it was, you know, cut a lot. There was a lot in it that, you know, I thought that could have been important, but the good part about it is that it read well.
It did.
It read well.
It read well.
How does she determine what reads well in your book? I mean,
well,
I know she's paid to do this, but how do you feel as a author? That somebody has just chopped your work and you're just like, well, it does need to be in there because that's the way I wrote it.
But here's the deal though. Because I always look at things totally different. The things that she did not think that should have gone into the book will go into abandoned property. So it's not like it's lost work.
Oh, okay.
But she makes that determination by when she looks at a scene, because she looks at things in parts, like as scenes. And if that doesn't really go with that particular scene, she'll say, okay, you know, you need to either reword this or change this, or we need to take this out, or that doesn't matter. Or that won't matter to people. That part right there will not matter to people.
I found myself needing more.
Did you?
I did. I found myself needing more because I'm visual when I read. I like to walk into a room and know what it looks like. I want to know what she got on. I want to know what she ate. All that. And I kept telling Tammy, I was like, I like the book, but it's not giving me enough. It's not giving me enough visual. Like they went out to breakfast. What did they eat? Did she get some turkey sandwiches? Did they have a little burn on them? You know how you just say, well, I want it well done? You know, and she went to the club, and I was just waiting for all this. And I kept comparing this book to that book that I've been reading for a year. And it's thick. But it's not thick because it has that much substance. It's thick because it has a lot of detail. It has a lot of detail. That man would go 3 pages as he's walking through a park, and I can smell the flowers. You know what I'm saying? And I kept saying, this book needs some of that in it because it didn't develop the characters enough for me. Like I couldn't bond with the people because I didn't feel like I knew them enough. It's like you just mention them by name. She's a female. She's nice looking. What does nice looking look like? That's nice looking for you. Is she big? Is she small? Is she tall? So I kept finding myself going, well, I wish she would have went into more detail about that. Huh? She said her apartment was raggedy. How raggedy was it? was the curtains flapping out the window? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I kept trying to visualize stuff, and it just it wasn't hitting it for me.
So I'd like to ask
a fine line.
That's actually really good though. I'm really glad that you brought that up because as being a first-time author, these are things that I need to know. It helped me as I'm writing the next book. But I will tell you, you will get more detail in the next book.
But you know, it's just like Kat was going to say, there is a fine line. There are some people that prefer, I can go either way. Okay, and I am in some cases I am like Zip, where I can read a book and I do want to see it as I'm reading it because, you know, there's like I can see it in my head as I'm reading it. But then there's times I can read a book and don't have to see it in my head. Just the words itself is doing enough for me. So in that particular case, yeah, there was some points, a little bit of points and stuff like that where I was like, you know, like, okay, you know, you sleeping on the back porch on the futon. I can see back porch, I can see futon. I can see that. I don't need to really see shoes over here, dog poop over here, cat hair over here. But I mean, at the same time, that was just enough for me to see it without going into detail. But then there's times when I have a book and I like the details. It depends on what the book is actually giving you at that time.
And then
for me.
And then for me, like there's one particular, and I mentioned this to Jermaine, I think when they was having karaoke at the Fisher Building. And I'm like, I know that they had karaoke in Fisher Building, but somebody else who may have not lived in Michigan, who never been here, may not know that. And that probably should have been a little bit more details into that. Like there's a club in the basement of the Fisher Building. You know.
Yeah, like the feeling, because like what was going on at that time, because if I don't remember any other club, I remember because a whole lot of different stuff has happened there. and getting that feeling of what that was. You know, here's this building, this older building that's more like they have plays and things, but now here's this lesbian group down there doing karaoke, you know, where Sherioke was doing their stuff, and just the amazing feeling that was going on, trying to kind of put words to that feeling that was going on. Because I remember going and having an amazing time. Because it was different than the clubs where everybody was all trying to hook up and this and that. It was more of a relax. So getting that feeling out of what that was.
And see, I'm an exile from Detroit coming back in. So when you were saying karaoke, Fisher Theater, I'm like, where's that at?
And I was the same
I'm
thing.
from Detroit, but where's that at?
Because I was
Fisher
gone
Theater,
for a while,
really?
so I'm like, there's a club in the Fisher.
But I knew that they did karaoke, and I knew the club, so I knew that. But I was looking at it from a person who didn't live here, as you probably wouldn't.
Right.
And that wasn't, described.
And a couple times-
Because other people in other cities, I mean, from places that I've seen, they can relate to that type of thing, and especially maybe the age group, the above, let's say 32, 33, knowing what they're looking for in a club. So it's a different experience than what the other ones want. And I'm sure that's an experience that a lot of lesbians are wanting. A lot of straight people are wanting that same experience, and then they're able to connect with that.
Because I had a friend of mine
Thank you.
that we graduated from high school together. When we were in high school, everybody knew he was gay. Okay, you talk about 1980, 81, 82. Everybody knew he was gay, but nobody said anything. But we all knew, and he wasn't extremely flamboyant, but he was there. He left, went to San Francisco, wrote a book called How to Ruin a Perfect Child. Came back for our 20-year reunion, I think it was.
What was the name
and
of
we
the
had
book?
How to Ruin a Perfect Child.
I got that book.
Antonio Lamont. Antonio Lamont. You gotta read. You gotta read. But the interesting part about it is that when he came to the high school our reunion and stuff, I had him. I said, I want to read it. And he signed it. Went home and I started reading it. And like you said, Doreen said when she saw Fisher Theater, she's like, where's Fisher Theater? Well, in his book, he referenced a lot to Detroit. And I like the fact that he said going down 7 Mile, West 7 Mile, where you see this, and this. We know that. We've seen it. We've been there. But for somebody who may not be from Detroit, that live in San Francisco where he lived, they can see it too. Like, oh, okay, I can see that. So, if he says, I went down West 7 Mile between, Schaefer and whatever, you know what's on West, some of us do know what's on West 7 Mile. If he said, I went to Royal Oak, we know what's in Royal Oak. But I like the fact for his book that because he lives in San Francisco, been living there for 30 years now, he had to detail it out because his book was being pushed in San Francisco first before Detroit. When we got it, we were like, oh yeah, we know where that's at. We're going through the book. Gotta read it. So
I have a question back to about, you were saying that the editor cut a lot of information out. From the information, from what you're hearing from people, are those some of the things that she cut out that you feel that could have been put back in? Or did she cut out other things and like it was a mix of different things that she cut?
It wasn't really that.
Okay.
One thing, and because I'm just an honest person, I have to be honest. In writing this novel, I just wrote. That's all. I just wrote. I didn't do grammar. I didn't do. I just wrote. I just wrote. My thing was, I knew that somebody was gonna come in and I was gonna pay for somebody to edit the book for me. The things that she cut out the book were probably just more details, not so much as details about certain rooms or certain clothing or certain food or certain streets. It wasn't that. It was certain information that she thought that should not maybe, it didn't go along with what was happening at that point in time. I'll give you an example. Originally in the book, good example. Originally, when when she was in the hospital, I did a scene where Jay came to visit her, but Corey was actually, she was unconscious. And where Jay was actually talking to her and was saying all the stuff that she had done to her and was saying why she had done this.
Oh.
Seriously. She cut that part out of it because she said that it didn't go with what was going on in front of and behind. Although in my mind, that's how I was seeing it. But she cut that part out. And after I read it, it really didn't. Maybe had I had chosen to do it differently, or I don't know, but it really didn't. But things like that, more details will be put into the second book.
Have you considered maybe doing
I
something?
thought that was a smart move. I'm sorry, Lauren. That she cut that out because it left that surprise.
Yeah, at the end, right, yeah.
And then from like you're saying that, it pretty much just sounds like any movie that you get,
Right.
and it has the deleted scenes, and sometimes you'll see it, and it's like, well, yeah, I can see why they didn't put that in there. You know,
Right.
that minute and a half or two was like, well, really wasn't that important
Right.
to see it at that moment.
But you know what, at the same time, like you were saying that the scene where you were gonna have Jay come into the hospital and tell her all the reasons why, I can see that being cut because it did give it that smoothness as you read it. However, that part to me personally probably could have been added when Corey confronted Jay. Because there really wasn't a whole lot of the reason why she did it. It was, she just gave us a surface. She just surfaced it, you know, and because I find myself saying, I wonder why this bitch did this. You know, that's
Right.
when I was reading, I was like, come on, you know, and I was so that part that you were saying, if those words, not so much as the scenery, but if those words that you had put in there originally had went to that part, you know, it would have been like, then I probably would have got madder.
Yeah, because I was like,
Yeah.
we good
Did she
enough
say it in a
friends that
cunning way?
Yes.
She did?
Yes.
Oh, so,
Oh, I can't wait
okay.
for
I
real
can see
now.
why it was kind of,
Yeah.
because what was going on at the time when she went to go rent the new house and everything.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I was like, if we close enough friends that you letting me live at your house, but you so much of a dog that you would do this
Still
to
my
me.
idea.
I knew something wrong with
Because
you
when
when
I
you
was
were
kid, because I could see me running in front, because I wanted to find her myself and beat her down.
No, I wanted to find Darius and beat his butt down. Because he was stealing the money. You know, he was like, okay, boo, don't worry about after, you know, the part where, you know,
You're not hearing any of this.
Here she is, she's in the hospital and everything, and then Darius all of a sudden come back after you read that part where, you know, Corey was feeling bad because she talked to her brother like that, her so-called brother, you know, in such a mean, nasty way. She just kind of feel like Darius ain't gonna want to be bothering me anymore. And then all of a sudden he comes back and he's like, oh, boo, don't worry, I got you.
Ulterior
And
motive.
then all of a sudden she's looking, she's like, what's this? You know, 30 days for this. And then I was like, they go that day.